Hi everyone, back tuning into today's video. It's JMA Friday, so we're going to have a look at the month-ahead 500 millibar height anomalies from the Japanese model, broken down into weekly periods, going out through the next month. This will be taking us well into March, so leaving winter and going on into spring. We'll also have a look at the long-range CFS model, see what that's showing for March and April, and then we'll have a look at the nearer time frame, come back to the next week to 10 days, because there's some quite interesting weather on the way next week. I think it will turn wetter again, not hopefully the copious amounts of rain that we had earlier in the winter, but it will turn more unsettled again next week compared to how it has been this week, and it may turn a little bit colder as well. We may have to think about some wintry conditions coming along as we exit February and go into March. Now, before I get on with all of that, I just want to talk about the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at gazworthies.com. You press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting gazworthies.com, and thanks very much for doing that. Do check out the latest video that's showing up, the Wonders of Life app demo. I had a look at that yesterday. It's a fantastic video. Really high quality, tremendous quality video. Very, very interesting. Do check out that video if you get the chance. Whenever you play the video ads, you're supporting gazworthies.com because we get a royalty fee on what you're doing. So every time you play the video ad, we'll get a royalty fee, and it pays, the website pays for me to sit here and talk to you via the website. So thanks for getting involved. Thanks for supporting gazworthies.com. Remember, the Wonders of Life app demo. Do check out that video. It's a fantastic, high quality video ad. Now, I also want to say about my eyes. I've got quite slightly sore eyes again today, I'm afraid, so I have got the camera turned off, but I've got microphone turned on, so hopefully you can hear me okay through the microphone. Just also to say, all of the websites that you see in this video, you can find the links to them on my links page. So we'll start off with the JMA model, the update from Japan. As I say, it's JMA Friday. It updates every Friday, the Japanese model. 500 millibar height anomaly is broken down into weekly periods. The first thing you need to know is that we're upside down, so there's the Brijal just there. It's very clear to see what model is going for again in the coming week. This first week will be taking us from the 21st to the 28th of February, so it'll be the final week of winter. And we end the final week of winter as it's been through most of it, really with the blue colours there over Brijals and to west of Brijal. That's a trough of low pressure, jet stream moving through. That is an unsettled signal. Now, hopefully it won't be as bad as it has been throughout much of this winter. I don't think it will be, but it will be more unsettled next week. We'll have a look at the charts in a moment for next week, but I think we'll have more rain to contend with at times. Now, the second weekly period, which takes us from the 28th of February to the 7th of March, is rather interesting because then the trough is elongating and stretching. So we're sending a piece of the energy down to the south. A cut-off low is forming to the south of Brijal. We've also got some energy up to the north. So we're stretching the trough and pulling it apart. That's a colder sort of signal. We'll be bringing winds in more from a northerly direction with that, actually. We haven't had many northerly winds this winter, but I think we'll be bringing northerly winds in with that. It's still relatively unsettled, but it's not as bad as that first weekly anomaly because a lot of the energy and the rain is really with the energy is going down to the south of the country. So it would be drier and colder, I think, through the first week of March, although still unsettled at times. And with that colder air, we'd have to start thinking a little bit in terms of wintry type showers. And then as we go through to the 3rd and 4th weeks of March, which take us from the 7th to the 21st of March, well, you remember last week we had the idea that high pressure, yellow above average height, is going to start to ridge in off the Atlantic. That is still the case on this update. So yeah, we've got those yellow colours there in the Atlantic ridging into the Brijal. That's an area of above average heights which extrapolates to high pressure. Now, it won't be completely dry because with the orientation of that high pressure, we bring weather systems around from the top, particularly affecting Scotland and northwestern parts of England and Northern Ireland as well. So it'll always be more unsettled in the north and west, always more settled down in the south and southeast. But that is a much better sort of pattern to be in, and it would really help the flooding situation. The floodwater would finally be able to recede, I think, with that type of pattern. It'll be the most settled that it's been probably since the end of November, the start of December. So that's a pretty good anomaly again for March if you're looking for it to dry out a bit. So as we go through to the 500 millibar height anomalies from the CFS model next, again this is for March, and this is from the website weatherweb.net. Does this agree with the JMA model? Well, actually, yes it does, because we've got those yellow colours down to the southwest in the Atlantic. We've got blue colours up around Iceland, so we've got low pressure up to the north, high pressure regime from the south. Again, the jet stream is coming through, something like that, so it'll always be more unsettled up in the north and the west, and even down in the southeast it wouldn't be entirely settled the whole of the time. You'd still bring weather systems through periodically, but that's a pretty good anomaly for March. High pressure would be much more dominant, and I think it would definitely help a lot with the flooding situation. Also, not a bad position for that high pressure to be in terms of temperatures either. I think it would be relatively mild with that high pressure sitting down to the west and the southwest. So pretty good signals, I think, as we go through to March, although the start of it could be colder and still unsettled. But I think as we get on into the month, the signals are looking really quite decent. The temperature city forecast for Birmingham for March showing that we're going to be hovering around average, to be honest. No great deviation here with the temperatures around the high single figures and into the low sort of teens. Nothing really out of the ordinary going on there. That's about where we should be, I think, for March, and it's really what you'd expect with that high pressure sitting down to the south and to the southwest. Now, have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly from the CFS model for April, and that's quite a different kettle of fish, because then we've got these blue colours around British Isles and sitting to the south. So we've got a trough of low pressure to the south of the country and over the British Isles. Presumably, it doesn't really show it that well, but we presumably got some sort of blocking over Greenland and to the north of Scandinavia. So again, it's that signal for April that it's going to be a colder, wetter month in April. I think we have got to start thinking quite seriously about April being a pretty disappointing month, potentially, with quite a bit of rain and possibly quite a coolish or even cold month coming up. I'll keep an eye on it. The CFS model being very consistent with this idea that it could be a rather more unsettled and colder or cooler month. Now, just have a quick look at the generic charts for next week, and as I say, it is going to be a more unsettled week as we start March. So here we are on Tuesday, 25th of February. From a GFS model, with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. That'll bring quite heavy rain across all parts of the country. I think as we go through the charts, what we find is eventually, when the page loads, there it goes, the low pressure is going to move across the country on Wednesday the 26th. Again, that'll be taking unsettled conditions through. As we go through to Thursday the 27th, still unsettled, but maybe a little bit drier in the south. But then look what this area of low pressure does as we go through to the very end of the month. This is Friday the 28th. This low pressure sinks south across the country. So you remember that idea from the JMA model through the first week of January, the 500 millibar anomaly was to stretch the trough and elongate it through the British Isles and send it down to the south. Well, there we go. The GFS model is seeing that trough pushing southwards across the country at the end of March, and there we are as we go at the end of February, and as we go into the start of March, Saturday the 1st, that low pressure sitting just to the east and the southeast of the country, putting down a much colder northerly or northeasterly wind. So we would have to think about wintry showers in the north and the east in particular. The worst of the rain will be clearing away to the east. And then we're in quite a cold flow on certainly the 2nd, so it could be quite cold next weekend. And then as this area of low pressure moves in on Monday the 3rd, that's coming into cold air. It's got quite cold air behind it. So again, with that, we'd probably have to think about some snow coming in across the country on Monday the 3rd of March. That's 10 days away, so chances are it'll be downgraded a lot and we won't get the snow coming in with that. But if it was to pan out as bad as showing, then there would be wintry potential as we move through into the opening days of March. The ECMWF shows that low pressure coming in at the start of next week, so it will be quite wet and windy to start next week. As we go through to the end of next week, again, it's the same idea, that low pressure diving southwards across the country, taking heavy rain across all parts and eventually introducing a much colder northerly flow as that low pressure exits away to the east. We open the floodgates to the north for the first time. think, just about this winter. And we will be looking at wintry showers, particularly in the north and the east. Now, instead of bringing that low pressure through on day 10, Monday the 3rd, what the ECMWF wants to do is build this ridge of high pressure up across the country. So it would be turning drier. It would be quite cold. There'd be some quite hard overnight frost with that, but we don't bring that low pressure through as we do on the GFS, so hence we don't have the potential for wintry conditions moving in from the Atlantic. But nevertheless, it looks more unsettled next week. We're going to see more rain. Hopefully not the torrential rain of earlier in the winter, but certainly more rain coming up next week than we've had this week. And eventually, I think as we go through to the very end of February, start of March, could turn colder. May have to think about some wintry showers in the north and the east. We'll look at all this in more detail tomorrow for the weekend forecast, so come back for that. Going to be quite an interesting one, I think, particularly if that wintry potential is still showing up for the first weekend of March. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.